If you love me, please don't judge me. Got my hands tied, the power's above me. Don't shoot the messenger, I'm just a puppet here. If you wanna place blame, then look to the puppeteer. Family, fortune, envy, jealousy, privilege, passed on, legacy, secret, sabotage, borderline, felony, suicide, subtract, selfish, pedigree, yeah.
So yeah, even though the Cup Series had an off week this week, and also with it being Father's Day weekend, by the way, hope everyone has a happy Father's Day, by the way. So yeah, even though despite that, we still had some races series to go over this week, including a truck series race at Knoxville. And if you thought last year's race at Knoxville was a complete utter fucking shit show and a disaster, oh boy, somehow that race looks tame compared to what happened this year. And it wasn't just what happened on the track, it was also what was happening in the booth as well. Before we talk about what happened in that truck race though, we gotta go over the other races that happened this weekend, of course. So yeah, I'm experimenting with some new graphics here to do this for the reviews for every race. So yeah, we're gonna have that graphic for every series we do. So yeah, from now on. So yeah, anyway, let's start off with the ARCA race at Berwyn Raceway up in Western Michigan. This race was complete fucking boredom. Like, this race from start to finish was just the Daniel Dye show. Daniel Dye, like, dominated this entire fucking race. Like, there was, like, rarely any passing. Like, the only highlight of the field was, like, the only real battle on this track was, like, mainly a 3-car battle for third between, like, Taylor Gray, Tom Hessert, and Jesse Love. Like, this race, for much of the race, it was mainly Daniel Dye running first and Sammy Smith running P2. There were a couple cautions here or there, but really nothing really there. It looked like, but then in the finish though, when it looked like Daniel Dye had the race in the bag, we get to the turning point with 6 to go, where all of a sudden, Daniel Dye loses all the pace in his car. They haven't said if it was an engine failure or if he ran out of fuel. I imagine he lost power or something, like down that line. And then when that happened, Sammy Smith was able to run him down from 6 seconds behind damn near immediately, and take the lead with 6 to go. And then Daniel Dye would plummet all the way down. Dye would end up finishing in 7th a lap down. And then once Sammy Smith got the lead, it was just an easy cruise to the win. So Sammy Smith, he takes advantage of Daniel Dye's bad luck and misfortunes, and gets his first ARCA National Series win, since all of Sammy Smith's previous wins are ARCA East wins. So yeah, Sammy Smith gets a win that should have been Daniel Dye's, but hey, Denny Hamlin said it best though after Texas. Just because you deserve to win the race doesn't mean you should win the race. But yeah, Sammy Smith, he gets his first win, and you gotta feel for Daniel Dye. He led damn near every single lap, had the race in the bag, and ends up having something out of his control happen to him that takes him out of it. But one other highlight is that Tom Hessert, in his return to the ARCA series, gets a second place finish in his first race back. So hey, welcome back, Tom. And of course, with Daniel Dye's engine fail with his misfortunes, that also hurts him in the championship, since he's in that close 3-man battle for the title with Nick Sanchez and Raja Carruth, and both Sanchez and Carruth finished ahead of him in 5th and 6th respectively, while Dye finished in 7th. I believe Carruth finished 5th and then Sanchez 6th. So yeah, Carruth gains points, as Carruth remains the championship leader in a very close 3-man battle for the championship between those three. So yeah, that's a big blow to Daniel Dye in the championship. Daniel Dye probably would have been the points leader if he won the race, but just something kept him out of it. Like, Daniel Dye should have had at least 2 wins this year. He had Phoenix in the bag, and then he made a bad lane choice. This one, he had the race won, and then something happens to his car that makes him lose all pace that's out of his control. He'll get that win eventually this year, but that's just some bad luck right there. Daniel Dye should easily have 2 wins and be the points leader, but bad luck and bad decisions just held him back this year. But yeah, You'll get that win someday. Just in the end, tonight was Sammy Smith's night in Berlin. Maybe next week for Daniel Dye when they go to Elko in Minnesota. Now we get to the Modifieds race down in Moonadok, a race that ended up being postponed today because of inclement weather and rain. So they ran this race from Saturday night all the way until Sunday afternoon for the postponement. So yeah, much of this race was dominated by Matt Hirschman for much of it. But then in the closing laps, it would end up becoming a two-man battle for the win between Hirschman and Justin Bonsignor. But in the end, Bonsignor would find a way past Hirschman with 2 to go. And then Bonsignor would end up holding off Matt Hirschman to get his second win of the season. So Justin Bonsignor gets his season back on track as he looks to win another championship in Modifieds. So Bonsignor gets his second Modifieds win of the year down in Moonadok. So yeah, congrats to him on that front. Well-deserved win. So yeah, that was still a good battle there in the Arc in the Modifieds race. So yeah, can Bonsignor win another championship? Or is he falling too far back behind at this point in the season? I still say it's very wide open in the air. But yeah, Bonsignor really starting to get his championship run back together. Now we get to the SRX season opener up at Five Flags Speedway up in Pensacola, Florida. The speedway that plays host to the Snowball Derby every year. So yeah, this race was a really big comers and goers race. There was a lot of things here. Like the early part of this race was dominated by local short track hero Bubba Pollard until I had a feeling it was Darian that had to jinx Pollard and give him a flat tire. So yes, the Black Flags Matter curse has now come to SRX. God help us all. We are so fucked now. Like the sooner we could take Darian's phone away and throw it into a fucking safe and chuck that sumbitch into the ocean, the better. I think a lot of people are just waiting for the day Darian finally gets kicked off Twitter. Maybe then we won't have drivers get jinxed off of it. But yeah. So yeah, and also the other Chase Elliott fans that are hoping Elliott wins the SRX season finale at Slater later in the summer. I hope you have no plans of Elliott winning that race because I know 100% Darian's going to talk about Chase during that race and jinx him. So yeah, with Darian now jinxing an SRX, all the Elliott fans can kiss the win at Slater Speedway in the season finale goodbye. Because Darian's going to make damn sure Elliott doesn't win that race. God help us all. But yeah, like there was actually some really good battles for much of this race though. Especially how Ryan Newman ran up front much of this race. In the end, the race ended up being a 4-man battle for the win between Helio Castroneves, Tony Kanaan, Ryan Newman, and Bubba Pollard. As Bubba, despite that flat tire, would find a way to come back and be in the top 5 by the end. But in the end, Helio would get by Kanaan, and then Ryan Newman would battle Tony Kanaan for much of the race. And while those two were battling, it just allowed Helio to pull away easily. And Helio Castroneves finally gets his first career SRX win. So Helio Castroneves, the 4-time Indy 500 champion, is now officially a winner in the SRX series. Because Helio came so close so many times last year, and this time he finally gets that win that has eluded him in SRX. Helio finally wins the race in it. About time. Congrats to Helio Castroneves on finally winning an SRX. So yeah, and Helio also, of course, that's tradition. He did the catch fence climb. That's per tradition for him every time he wins a race. So yeah. And Tony Kanaan ends up second, and Ryan Newman in his first SRX race gets a podium finishing third. Hey, congrats to Newman. Newman seems like he's found his calling card after NASCAR. Hello, Newman. But yeah, and also here's something interesting Helio talked about. Helio said that he had a bet with one of the SRX CEOs that if Helio won an SRX race, he could potentially get a cup ride in the near future. And I mean, the best place bet for him to get a cup ride would probably be that 91 car that Trackhouse is running part-time for international racers. Like, that car's going to be hosting Kimi Räikkönen at Watkins Glen in this August. And there's been rumors that that car could play host to Jimmy Johnson doing the Charlotte Indy Double next year. Because Jimmy's talking about doing the Indy 500 and the Coke 600 and all in the same year and next year. And I mean, that 91 car would be open because it's only open to international drivers that want to give NASCAR a shot. So would Helio's win in SRX? Does this mean Helio to the 91 at Trackhouse in 2023 confirmed for a one-off? I hope so. I hope Helio gets a one-off race. But yeah, overall for this SRX race, this was really good. The one negative I have about this race are those stupid fucking fun cautions that come out like midway through the race or 25 laps. Or if we go 25 laps without a yellow flag against it. Like, it's pretty much a caution clock that we had in the Truck Series a few years ago. Like, it's so goddamn dumb. Like, you don't need, if you're having to throw cautions just to make a race more exciting, then it probably wasn't a good race to begin with. Like, honestly, I know you gotta have some form of entertainment in the race, but you should have it come naturally and let the drivers do it themselves and have it come naturally, instead of trying to force feed the entertainment down everybody's fucking throats. Like, we already deal with this shit enough in NASCAR with the chase grid every fucking year. So yeah, I think the only negative I have about the XRX is the fun cautions. Like, you should not be throwing a caution unless there is an actual safety hazard on the fucking track. The shocking part was that there were no real incidents from Paul Tracy in this race. But overall, though, it was still a solid race. Broadcast overall in a good mid-race future after the Heat 2 state break. So yeah, that was good to see. It was overall a really good broadcast, a good race, though. Just hate that the fun cautions disrupt the flow of the race. I would like to see it happen naturally, instead of being force-fed down everyone's throats. And now we get to the Truck Series race at Knoxville. The second ever race at Knoxville. Of course, last year's race at Knoxville, less said about that race, the better. This race, well, the early part of this race, Hocevar dominated the early part. And it looked like Hocevar had the speed to be an early contender to win this race. And really, Darian? You had to fucking do it again? Yeah, as soon as Darian tweeted about Hocevar asking if this would finally be his night, Hocevar then blows the goddamn engine. Of course. Darian has to make sure that Carson Hocevar cannot have any nice things. Like, this has become a weekly occurrence with Hocevar and Darian. Like, anytime Hocevar has a good run going, Darian has to mention him. Okay, Darian, show me on the harassment doll where Carson Hocevar hurt you. Was it because of him wrecking Ryan Preece at Charlotte? Did he hurt you there? Like, what did Hocevar do to deserve this pain? And don't worry, folks. Danny B and the Iceberg, pretty much everybody in the NASCAR Weekly podcast crew has had enough of Darian's shit. Because, hold up. I got word. We have an exclusive C-RadTV footage of Jared, aka the Iceberg, beating up Darian with a pillow after Carson Hocevar blew his engine and Darian jinxed him. We shall show this video in its entirety right now.
Yeah, come here.
Somebody call the police!
And of course, after, Darian then had to double down on it, saying that will Carson Hocevar ever have a win in the series? Well, now because of you, Darian, Hocevar's never gonna win in a race in NASCAR because of you. You wanna know why Hocevar can't have nice things? Because you keep fucking talking about him. Maybe Darian should listen to his to his entire fan base for a change and stop talking about him. Like, Darian, it's very simple. You want Carson Hocevar to have nice things? Here's a hint. Stop talking about him during the middle of the fucking race. In fact, Danny B has had enough because there was another video that C-RadTV executives have got their hands on. And it's Danny B getting ready to beat the crap out of Darian with a pool stick. And we're gonna show that clip right here.
You gotta feel the
weeks ago where he's leaving the
What?
race.
Sorry.
Not late.
Sorry. I have a bad knee. I can't run.
We had to cut it. We had to cut the video right there to avoid any more flagging, to avoid getting flagged by YouTube for showing violence. We promote some kind of violence here on C-RadTV, but that kind of violence just crosses the line. Just be glad I wasn't there, dearie, because if it was me, I would be getting this for you. Especially if you talk about Kyle Larson or Chase Elliott or anybody at HMS one more motherfucking time. So yeah, jinx him again. I dare you. I double. You know what? Fuck that. I triple dare you, motherfucker. Say something about HMS one more goddamn time. But yeah, anyway, back to the race. So yeah, this race though, well, I'll just say this. I'll just sum it up here. Fox's coverage of this race was complete, utter dog shit. Like, this coverage, this was easily Fox's worst coverage of the fucking season. Like, here's how bad Fox's coverage was. Early in the race, there was a flip with Jessica Friesen where she flipped and rolled over and she still kept going with a flipped truck. And not only did Fox miss it, they completely ignored it and didn't even mention it. Like, the only way you can see a video of it is from fan footage and photos of it. Like, what the fuck is Fox doing? Seriously, what the fuck is Fox Sports doing? How the fuck do you miss a flip on a half-mile dirt track? Like, you gotta be a special kind of fucking retarded to miss that shit. Like, seriously, how much fucking weed do the executives at Fox fucking smoke before every fucking race? Or how much drugs do you have to fucking take before the race to miss that shit? Like, goddamn, fucking Stevie Wonder could have seen that, could have catched that shit easily. Stevie Wonder could have seen that easily. Like, Fox is goddamn pathetic. And it gets even worse. Because you thought that was bad. Oh, it's about to get worse, brother. Grab your liquor of choice. Because later on in the race, Fox misses showing a goddamn Brett Moffitt doing a half flip, going on his side, and then doing a wheelie off a Tanner Gray's car truck. And the only video you have of that is from fan footage, because Fox didn't even show replays of the full flip and the half flip. Like, oh my god, Fox Sports is absolutely fucking pathetic. It is fucking pathetic. Especially where they were a decade ago when they were the gold standard of broadcasting for NASCAR. And within a decade, they went from the gold standard to being an absolute fucking laughingstock. You see why nobody fucking takes NASCAR serious? It's because Fox makes sure that nobody does. It's like a fucking kid at high school trying to chase all the popular trends, but without no authenticity or originality. Like, Fox Sports is absolutely fucking pathetic. But yeah, then we get to the race, and then in the end, Nemechek had this race in the bag, and then some late race cautions happened because, of course, it's Knoxville. And yeah, and then Todd Gilliland would get the lead off of Nemechek on the final restart. And Todd Gilliland, in a one-off race with his dad's team, David Gilliland Racing, gets the win at Knoxville. So Todd Gilliland leeches his way to a win because this is technically a leech/bushwhacking win. So yeah, in the final race that Cup drivers can bushwhack in Truck Series, Gilliland gets that win. So yeah, Gilliland bushwhacks his way to a Truck Series win. And somehow people won't complain about it because it's not Kyle Busch. And also, we're not done yet on Fox's coverage because during Todd Gilliland's broadcast burnout, Fox had the gall, the audacity to take everyone side by side to go to commercial break during Gilliland's goddamn burnout. Are you fucking kidding me? That's 3 goddamn strikes. 3 strikes fucking out of here. I'll say this here. Let me reiterate what I said with NASCAR last week after Sonoma. If NASCAR re-signs Fox Sports once their current deal is up, It proves that NASCAR does not fucking care about expanding and evolving the brand. Because NASCAR has the pieces to do so, to go deep and expand the brand. But Fox Sports making sure that nobody takes the sport seriously, Fox Sports is holding this fucking sport back. And we all know mainly the networks are fucking controlling NASCAR right now. You know, to get maximum TV ratings. But hey, if they get the ratings and all that stuff, then Fox is just going to continue to be absolute dog shit. I don't know, will Fox Sports ever get their heads out of their asses? I don't fucking know. Probably not. Because Fox Sports, like, I get it if you have a bad broadcast every now and then, shit happens. Like, you're not gonna be on your game every single race. But when you're broadcasting like absolute shit nearly every single motherfucking week, it gets annoying pretty quickly. And then everyone starts calling you out. All I say is thank God we got NBC next week. At least NBC tries to take the sport seriously and make everyone try and take the sport seriously. Even though you have a lot of screaming now and then, mainly from Dale Jr., but at least the screaming is more authentic than whatever the fuck Fox Sports is doing. And at least it's real fucking emotion instead of this manufactured bullshit from Fox. Like, especially their pre-race segments were complete fucking shit for Fox. Like, holy crap. But yeah, I think I got on this rant long enough. But yeah, I'll be honest here. I don't think Knoxville at Trucks is going to be a long-term thing. To be perfectly honest, I feel like the Truck Series needs to go to a real dirt track. They should just go back to Eldora instead of going to Knoxville. I think they should go back to Eldora, to be perfectly honest. Eldora was fine. Knoxville is just a complete shit show. But yeah. Still, yeah. This race had some things potentially, but Fox Sports just made sure that this race was an utter fucking disaster. Somehow Fox Sports managed to take last year's shit show and make it even worse this year. God help us all. But yeah. Fox Sports needs to fucking go. Fox Sports is complete ass. They are shit. They're so fucking shit, they don't even realize how full of it they are. Like, hell, Fox Sports is so full of shit, I don't even know if I should ever offer them breath mints or toilet paper at this point. But yeah, anyway, that wraps it up here. We got, of course, the Cup Series at Nashville next week with NBC officially returning. Thank God. Thank God we have NBC next week. Thank God. Well, except for Trucks, because Trucks has Fox Sports the rest of the year. I wonder if the ratings are now going to start plummeting for the Truck Series races. Maybe when the ratings plummet, that's when Fox Sports will actually fucking make the right changes when the bottom line gets affected. Because that seems to be the NASCAR way. But anyway, that does it for this week. I'm out. See you all later. Peace.